Fine face. Good face. Fine face. Good face. Fine face.
And it gets your face like warmed up.
Super serious.
Where nothing fun or funny ever happens. This is a super serious thing.
I don't even like dogs.
Super serious. Hey everybody, welcome to Super Serious Dog Podcast, hosted by Courtney Cuellar and myself, Misha Bielitsky. In this podcast, we talk about all things super serious, sometimes dog related, and there's never ever any jokes. Some topics that we might cover are dog farts, or maybe why Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is joining us today. But seriously, we love to take viewer feedback and questions and all that kind of stuff. If you ever have questions, you can email us at superseriousdogpodcast@gmail.com, or you can check out our Patreon for more content. Today, I wanted to talk about not dog farts.
Good. I was like, oh crap, are we going to talk about dog farts? Gross.
I don't know how you could talk about that for like any length of time more than like a few minutes.
Right. Well, actually, I
do you have a dog fart story?
I do. It's pretty short. So I grew up with two dogs. Several dogs. Anyway, we had a boxer, and he had like the worst farts, like clear a room, like it was bad, right? Mm-hmm. And for some reason, someone told her that she could give him Beano, the gas stuff.
Can you legitimately do that? Can you actually give dogs Beano?
I mean, we did, and he was fine. He showed no. I don't know about that.
Well, you did it, and it worked out, but
right. But medically, it didn't work out. He still farted just as much, and it was still really gross. But they were a whole new flavor. Like it was a weird like change in flavor of fart. It was disturbing and gross. And that's my dog fart story.
It's like he rebranded or something, like he shifted his marketing strategy.
Yeah, the new flavor was much worse, and like it was like made you want to throw up, really bad. So we stopped giving him the Beano and just accepted that he had gross farts. Mm-hmm. In hindsight, we probably should have changed his diet, but I was a child. I didn't know about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a great dog fart story. I don't have anything honestly that interesting. That's actually a really good dog fart story, Courtney. Well done.
You did it. You had something you want to talk about. What do you got?
Well, I heard from a little birdie that people have already started asking us questions they want us to answer.
I heard that too. Is that true?
Jay?
That's true. We do have questions.
All right, let's hear it.
Goodness.
You ready for your questions? Questions.
How do we want to do this, Courtney? Do you want to like answer one and then I'll answer one? I mean, obviously both talk about it.
I think they want to hear both your takes.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's tag team.
All right, this question. My 8-year-old Scotty thinks it's a 4-foot Rottweiler. He runs up on huge dogs at the dog park trying to bark them down. How do I tell my Scotty he's not intimidating? Scotty doesn't know. That question comes from @BenEuroTrippin360.
First of all, tight username, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Second of all, you can't. You should be relishing the fact that he has the heart of a lion and he thinks that he is bigger than ever. Like that just shows you that you aren't utilizing him. You're underutilizing your dog. Like obviously he shouldn't be running up to Rottweilers and stuff, and you should work on that and hire a trainer for that. But I mean, let him live his life, man. Like you're holding him back.
Yeah. Seriously though, you should probably call a dog trainer. But
you can't take it seriously, can you?
I can't.
Not after that.
Yeah, Scotty doesn't know. That's what got me. The Scotty doesn't know. You remember that Scotty that is in that yard by the trail that we go to?
Yeah, the really cute one that's like just...
He doesn't bark. He's awesome. Very quiet. Watches us unload the dogs. like,
If the dogs
"Hey."
get too close, he will yell. It is his yard. Tell him to fuck
That's
off.
true. That's true. But he has
In
the
all
right to.
seriousness, if this is like a dog park situation where the dog is off leash, that kind of thing, like that's something where you need to work on recall, right? Like you need to practice calling your dog back, and work through higher and higher distractions. Start with low. Don't just start yelling, Scotty, come or whatever at the park, because that's 100% not going to work. But start practicing. If you don't know how, there's tons of YouTube videos.
Tons of them.
Seriously, like tons.
Use a leash, give treats, make it fun to come to you, make it more rewarding than what he gets out of yelling at the other dogs. Because I promise you, he's doing it because it's fun.
Yeah.
So maybe teach Scotty that you're fun.
Yeah, teach Scotty that you're more fun. If he's doing it in areas where, like, technically there's a gray area, whether it's on leash or off leash, like it's technically off leash, but everybody takes a dog off leash and it's fine. Nobody ever gets in trouble. Put your dog on a leash. Like, keep him safe. You do not want him to run up to the wrong dog and yell in their face and then get bit or worse.
Because worse can happen, and it does all the time. Seriously, like on a serious note, it's no bueno. You should train your dog.
All right. Question number 2. What rapper would you most want to dog train for and why? That question comes from at LL Drool Day.
LL Drool Day? You're a cool guy. You're a girl or whatever. You're a cool person.
That's some creative shit that I would never come up with. Some Sam Tabar
wait,
shit.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. LL Drool Day asks, what rapper would you most want to dog train for and why?
Fucking Drake. Duh. Like, come on, man.
Why?
Why? Because he's awesome and I love his music. And why the fuck not? He's rich as hell. Dude, he'd probably like give me money just to stand there and like hold his leash while like, hold the dog's leash while he's at some like event or something. And I just stand there and make billions. I don't know how much he makes, so I'm just making shit up. But still, he also just seems like a cool dude. I like his music.
Nice. How about you, Courtney?
That's a good answer. I don't have an answer off the top of my head for that. The first person I thought of was Riff Raff, though. But then I realized I'd be training Huskies, and I was
Huskies.
I don't know how much I want to dive into that, but he seems to already have a good relationship with his Huskies.
Why wouldn't you want to dive into that, Courtney? Just kidding. You don't have to answer that.
Because Huskies can be complex dogs.
They can be complex, yes.
But he seems to already have a great relationship with his, so maybe it'd be fun.
That means your job's easy.
Yeah. And he likes to have him in his music videos, so maybe he could just hire me to help out with that. And I don't have to train them.
Nice.
You just help out with tricks, teach him how to teach them tricks so that he can do cool stuff, and then have Riff Raff be like, Courtney's the coolest, and probably make a song about me or get a tattoo of my logo or something, which would be dope.
Shout out Riff Raff. Yeah.
Riff Raff, what's up? Let's train some Huskies.
Do y'all know who Lil Dicky is?
Yes.
He has that show Dave on Hulu now. I watched the first episode. It's great. I feel like he'd be a lot of fun to work with as well.
Possibly.
Next question.
I'm trying to think of that was a good one though. That was good. Thank you, LL cool dog person.
Drool J. LL Drool J.
A shout out at LL Drool Day.
Drool Day.
Yeah, Drool Day. Next question. If my pet dog, that's in quotations, if my pet dog kept leaving the seat up, how would I train that behavior out of him? Asking for a friend. That question comes from at wait until you're 40.
I have a feeling that your pet dog might be a person.
Significant other.
I have a hunch. How would you train that out of a significant other?
I have one word: reinforcement. It's all on how you reinforce it,
Is
right?
it the same as like what you would do for a dog if it was a dog?
Literally the same thing. I mean, I trained my fiance to stop doing it.
So what is reinforcement? I mean, can you explain that?
Well, yeah, for sure. So there's two ways you can reinforce a dog, right? Like consequences. Well, consequences, honestly, I don't like using that as a negative connotation. Consequences, right? So you're going to have good consequences, you're going to have bad consequences. Usually what people end up doing when they reinforce behavior or don't want a behavior to continue is they, especially when it comes to pet dogs or toilet seats being left up, right, is they tend to nag. That negative side just tends to go up, and it doesn't work really well. So try incentivizing some more in this case, right? Or it just means that your negative consequence isn't negative enough, right? So when I say reinforcement, I mean you want to reinforce the behavior that you want and discourage the behavior that you don't want.
That
Nice,
can apply
very
to like
interesting.
any situation.
Literally
It's
anything.
not just dog training. It's any relationship you're in.
You know, the way I trained Lee to stop leaving the toilet seat up is I just basically would, you know, I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
I was like, where is this going?
That's for the Patreon. That's for the Patreon.
Yeah.
Find
We'll
out on the
save-
Patreon.
Yes,
Hey,
we'll
you
save
gotta
that
pay for that.
later.
Yeah, that's behind a paywall.
Nice.
All right, next question.
These are great. These are great questions.
Yeah, these are awesome.
Let's see. We have another question from at the real Boombaclat 420, who asks, "Why are police dogs always canines?"
I don't understand the question.
I think I understand the question. I knew a person who was under the impression that canines were German Shepherds. And that was what the breed was, like a Rottweiler was a Rottweiler, but a canine is a German Shepherd or a Belgian Malinois.
That's
or
like
just
working or something.
Right. Just a regular, a working line dog.
Okay.
That's what they always saw, and they were always called canines. So it was like, well, that must be the canines. Maybe
must
that's
really
what
clear
this
things up.
Mr. Bubble 420 man person, maybe that's where their confusion is at. So, fun fact.
Yeah, I think you cleared that up for the real Boombaclat 420.
Okay, so
Yeah.
repeat now that I know that context, because like let's assume that is what he's talking about, or he or she is talking about. It's 2020. They are talking about. What? Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Why are police dogs always canines? It's spelled with a K.
Well, Courtney, do you want to take this one, or I can take it? I don't give a shit.
I mean, they're not always German Shepherds because sometimes they're Malinois, or sometimes they're Dutch Shepherds, and sometimes they're various other breeds, just not as commonly. They're those breeds because they're hardworking dogs. They have real good sniffers.
They're often
What do you got?
They're often bred for specific lines of work, right? So if
Right.
you have a dog who is a military working dog, let's say like they're going to Iraq, they're jumping out of helicopters attached to a human, they're wearing goggles, they're going in and like sniffing out terrorists, literally, or the enemy, right? Let's say. You need a very specific kind of dog for that. You need a dog who is bred and built from the ground up to be super resilient, super tough, and wants to fight, right? Like if you
Over generations of picking the best one out of the litter and breeding only that one and for the qualities that you want.
right,
So they did that with German Shepherds and Malinois.
right, and so you're going to pick those lines in order to make them more suitable for the job, right? Like my Chihuahua B-Town is a lot like Scotty from that first question.
Oh, yeah, Scotty.
He runs up and he yells and yells, but he is only doing that because he's insecure. If you put him in a real fight, he slinks away like a big fat baby with his ears down. He's like, "I'm just kidding. I don't want to fight." But like,
I've seen
he's
it.
mean as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen both sides of him. Yep.
And he could be quite terrifying. He's like a little Chihuahua Jack Russell thing. And he's feisty as hell, but he's not suitable for that. So on the flip side, right? Like, we're not talking about war dogs, we're talking about scent detection dogs. A lot of German Shepherds and things like that. Not only are they, do they maybe have better sniffers, as Courtney said earlier, right?
I'm
They
very
also
serious.
they're also they have a lot of stamina, right? They're built to work. They need a job. A lot of times when a client calls me and they say, hey, I'm 80 years old and I'm retired and I got this working line golden retriever whose parents are both titled like 1,000 times over in this sport. I'm like, why did you get that dog? Like, that is not a pet dog. That is a dog who's going to need and want and strive to work, and they're going to find jobs whether you give them one or not. They're going to tear up your couch. They're going to be like, look at this new task. It's like,
Yeah.
So the assumption that they work well and police use them and they're good dogs, it doesn't mean that they're good pets?
So
for the right home, right?
For the right home, right? Not all German Shepherds can only be working police dogs. There's no all statement here. It's just
right.
A lot of them that have been bred in these lines to become working dogs should not be in regular pet homes. There's plenty of German Shepherds that do great as family pets, and people have had them in their families as pets for many, many years. But like with any breed, you need to know what you're getting genetically, and if what they have genetically is going to fit your lifestyle.
And a lot of like breeders will tell you, like, not even if they are specifically breeding for purpose bred dogs, right? Like, you have a border collie that is going to go to actual like livestock herding, that kind of stuff. Not every puppy from that litter is going to make it. They're not going to have the constitution. They're not going to have the resilience. That maybe they don't have the drive. Like, they just are born and they're like, they want to go, parents hope that their children are going to become doctors and lawyers, right? And they end up being an artist or a dog trainer or something stupid, right?
I'm dying because you're describing Phoebe. That's just hilarious to me,
Right. And so, like, those same breeders, like when somebody says, hey, I would like to they come to that breeder and they say, hey, I would like to purchase a puppy. Either A, they're already breeding pet dogs and they have a pet pool, or they're breeding both. And, the puppies that may have not make it to actual jobs, they might be released to very specific homes, but the breeders that do their due diligence are going to make sure that it is a lifestyle fit. So maybe they're not going to compete and do all kinds of crazy things, or maybe they're not actually going to work on a farm, but maybe that person has, an interest in or a lot of experience in high drive working dogs. And so that it would be a good fit. And if it's not, then they're going to send them to the litter that is meant for pet purposes.
Wasn't there a movie about like a bomb sniffing dog?
I don't know. Maybe.
It went to
There's
Iraq and then it became like a police dog or something.
There's a lot of movies. Are you talking about Max?
Maybe. It was.
I'm Googling.
That's Max is the one that made having a Mal seem like a great idea for any teenage boy.
Oh, I thought it was John Wick.
There was that one too. Yeah, that one.
It's like
Mal's in it.
This person didn't want to be like on the K9 unit at war, and then like this dog
Megan
was like
Levy?
awesome.
Oh, the girl.
To it.
The girl.
Yeah,
Megan
the girl.
Levy. That's
Yeah.
what it's called. Came out in 2017.
That was a great movie.
I never heard of that.
You should watch it. It's good.
All
The
right.
movie
It's a
was
good one.
Awesome.
It'll make you cry.
I'll leave.
But it's good. It's like it's a good cry.
A lot of things make me cry, Courtney.
I know. That's why I wanted to warn you.
I mean, but that's good. Like, I like feeling moved.
Was that a German
yeah.
Shepherd?
Yeah, that was a German
Looks like
Shepherd.
it from the thumbnail. It looks like a German Shepherd.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story.
So, what do you think of like movies like that? Like, what were you saying about the Mal movie?
So it's so hard to like take a stance on this topic because like that movie Max, like I said, it made having a Malinois seem like a good idea. The story was like the dog. I didn't watch it, so I only know what I read and heard about it. But the story is it was a military dog, and the handler died, and nobody could touch the dog. And this like 12, 13-year-old boy went in there and was like, hey, you were my brother's dog. And the dog was like, I trust you only. And so they let the 12-year-old boy keep the dog from the military. And then they went on all these off-leash adventures through the woods and did all these crazy things and saved the world, is my understanding of it. My problem with it was that literally 6 months after that movie came out, I had a consultation for a 3-month-old Mal puppy that was biting its owners because it's a Mal. Duh.
For context, Malinois are bred to bite. That is like their primary function. If Border Collies are bred to herd, Malinois are bred to bite.
Right. So
it's not going to go away.
Puppy, it was, biting her skirt and kind of chasing her 12-year-old around and nipping at her toddler and, just biting them a lot. So I got there, and the first thing I asked when I walk in, as the dog's biting me, as I'm petting it, I was like, what made you want to get a Malinois? And she said, we saw the movie Max, and my son really wanted one. And I was like, oh. So those people ended up having, the lady tried really hard. She did everything she could. She was a single mom with 2 kids. And the dog was a lot, and a Malinois, and he bit people at daycare. He bit the babysitter. He was growling at the kids. It wasn't going well, and she had to rehome him. And unfortunately, where he got rehomed to ultimately didn't work out either, and he was euthanized. So I think it's called the 101 Dalmatians syndrome or something. Mm-hmm. Not to get all super serious here, but it happened when 101 Dalmatians came out, and everybody went out and bought Dalmatians. So breeders and puppy mills saw a demand and created a supply. And a lot of dogs end up euthanized because of that system that goes on. And so
these are like some of the super serious topics you guys talk about on the Patreon.
Yes. Yes.
Which is,
there's a lot that goes on in the dog world that I don't think everybody knows about. It's not common knowledge. And one thing I would hugely love to do is impact common knowledge about dogs.
This last one, what breed would you eliminate from existence, time machine style? That question comes from @BackToTheVet17.
Oh, that's so sad. It's a really good question.
So sad.
Okay, so part of me wants to say no dogs, but if I had to pick one,
it looks like you have a time machine, so you could stop the breed from happening. You don't have to eliminate it. Yeah.
So, just any. Probably pugs, because I feel so bad for them.
Oh, man.
They can't breathe, and I feel so terrible. And when I see one just and it's 75 degrees outside and their tongue's curling up because they're about to, asphyxiate. I can't do it. Or they're just really, really fat. They're just prone to obesity and they're just kind of thick. And then on top of that, they get super fat because they get free. I just can't. Yeah. Maybe pugs.
Yeah.
I love pugs. Don't get me wrong. I love them. I really, really do. I think they're hilarious dogs. But just any of those, just why would you do that to a dog?
Yeah. You ever seen a picture of their skulls?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Crunching in.
Yeah, it's not good. My first reaction to the question was definitely I don't want to answer this because there's no way to answer it and not upset
somebody.
Amp of people,
Right.
But I gotta tell you, it's a real toss up between pugs and Frenchies.
Oh, I love Frenchies though.
Honestly, I may just eliminate the whole bulldog line.
They're so zesty.
What
about American bulldogs?
As soon as those noses started getting shorter, I would have been and here's where this evolution stops, and we don't make anything past a Mastiff, and we're done here. We have Boston Terriers, maybe. I like Boston Terriers. Does it count? I love them.
You like Frenchies? Frenchies are so fun. They're just like Boston Terriers, just less.
I love Frenchies. Okay, don't accuse me of not liking Frenchies. I fucking love them.
I get it. Though.
They should not exist.
I'm glad you didn't say chihuahuas because that would hit me.
No,
They're
I
such
wanna have-
shits.
I want a chihuahua one day. I want a whole little pack of them. It'll be fun.
I want a nice chihuahua that I can like touch its face whenever I want. Although since changing my life around and starting my own business, I can touch Boston's face so much more. Today I thought he had a tick in his ear and I plucked it out really easily, but it wasn't a tick. It was just like a fuzzball. I panicked a little, don't get me wrong. I still put his muzzle on, but still.
But you were able to get it and he didn't like try to eat you?
With Lee's help, but he didn't freak the fuck out. He was just more interested in treaties.
Nice.
Very proud of him. So proud. Is that Jinx?
Yeah, there's nothing I can really do about it. If I push him off, he just gets more persistent to come back on. So I'm trying to just let him like check it out and see that it's not comfortable and maybe he'll leave.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Is bargaining with a cat, you know? It's way different than dogs.
So do you train cats?
No.
That's my favorite question I get when I'm at like Home Depot and stuff pre-quarantine.
Yeah.
Actually, at Home Depot, I got asked that question more than anywhere else.
That's weird.
Yeah. More than Bed Bath & Beyond, which I would expect that question from Bed Bath & Beyond a lot more. I don't know why.
I understand your logic there, I think.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to the listeners for your super serious questions.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes.
That was
has
great.
been Super Serious Dog Podcast. You can email some more of those amazing questions at superseriousdogpodcast@gmail.com. And check out our Patreon, patreon.com/superseriousdogpodcast.
Where there's sometimes cats.
There's sometimes a cat. Oh yeah, meanie Lex. He's drooling everywhere.
Yeah, but seriously, we super appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate your support. And seriously, stay tuned for the next episode. Super serious. Finger guns.